Good afternoon, students. Able to?
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
I think mine is an unscheduled program today. As a matter of fact, I'm supposed to take the class on 24th. Since Madam has not completed some topics, I had to give it to her. I think she has completed the topics on Saturday. And today's topic is scheduled by Dr. Mohan Sundar. Unfortunately, his father expired, so he could not come. Before we actually start, I have scheduled the timetable for the next 1.5 months, wherein there will be some classes on practicals. So the practical aspects will be discussing in this online, so that it will save a lot of time when we start the practicals in reality. And all these departments will be in the new block. I think you are quite away from the college for some time. So everything will be in the new block, and then practicals, labs, everything is being set up. And regarding the record books, I think we'll be making arrangements to get it printed. And you'll be given printed record books for anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. And the record books process is not yet ready. Once you come to the college, the record books will be ready. And I would suggest you to buy one practical textbook so that it gives some information. So once you go through the different practical textbooks in physiology in the library, you see which language suits you, because most of them will give you the same material, which language suits you and which is convenient to your level of understanding. You can buy that book later. And in practicals, you will also be doing clinical examinations of the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, etc. So the same thing will be taught to you once you go to the clinical side. When you go to the passing the first MBBS, you will be going to the hospital side, where you will be going to the clinical side, where the detailed examination of the cardiovascular system, respiratory system, gastrointestinal system, central nervous system, everything will be taught to you in detail. So I would suggest you to buy this clinical methods. There is a textbook of a small book on the Hutchinson's clinical methods. You can just note down Hutchinson's clinical methods. This book gives the detailed information. Most of them, which is there in the practical textbooks of physiology, has this material. So there are different textbooks of the clinical material, clinical examination. One is Hutchinson, the other is Chamberlain. A lot of books are coming there, so you can just choose one of them later. And before we go further, so we have, for the time being, we have devised 3 systems at a time. One is the renal system, which our professor has started in the morning. The other one is the reproductive system. And the third one is the special senses, which I'll be taking some other topics. So these are the things which we planned for the next 1.5 months. And then in addition, we have the cushioning class of SPM, that is community medicine, which the faculty will not be taking. And then that will be on spare. If there is anything, we'll be taking that class also. Before going further with the topic, today most of the topics, most of the items which I'll be discussing is the general topics because I thought I will share my ideas with you for quite some time. You should not tamper with nature. You should not tamper with nature. So nature in the sense cutting plants, cutting trees, and then encroaching upon the forest areas, and then developing into urban areas, and then extending everything concentrated in the urban areas. All these things is a haphazard growth. It spoils the eco-dynamism. The Earth is having the normal ecosystem. That ecosystem is deranged, and then all the problems will come. As a matter of fact, the main problem is mainly because of the denudation of the forest area, and then encroaching upon the forest areas. And that results in opening up of the different viruses to the human population, and hence we are facing all these things. As a matter of fact, I just wanted to share some views about the safety tips for the woman. So in spite of all the development, all awareness, and all the precautions in the society, still women are subjected to unhealthy situations, and the safety of the woman is compromised in different things. So it's mainly because of a lot of factors which are involved. And then I would like to suggest these safety tips for our medical students, girl students, so that they take all the precautions necessary as far as their movements are concerned. So I thought I prepared one PowerPoint, especially with the safety angle of girl students and women in general. The problem in my life and other people's lives is not the absence of knowing what to do, but the absence of doing it. So you know everything. Everyone knows about all the things, but you are not implementing it. So you know that following traffic rules will reduce the road accidents, but still we don't follow them at different situations. The health authorities in the world has recommended using masks and maintaining the safe distance and using the sanitizers. Yet we don't use it, and that is the reason why this pandemic is still spreading and still present in this, in spite of all the precautions which we are taking. For example, we, older and wiser voices, can always help you find the right path if you are only willing to listen. So we only try to tell you the right way, what is correct and what is not, only for you to accept whether you take it in a positive perspective or not. What is the secret of success? Right decisions, or how do you make right decisions? That is by experience. How do you get experience? By wrong decision. This is what Abdul Kalam said. That is, you do a mistake and then learn it, and that is an experience. That experience is the thing which you will be, that experience makes you not to repeat the same error which you have done before. So we, with our experience in life, we try to pass on that information to you. So it is for you to take it up. In spite of everything, a woman is only next to God. That is to say, that is, God created human beings, and then it's only the woman who can create, who can create a new human being. So no one else has this capacity. She is next to God, as a matter of fact. And then if you do not respect our people, our women, then there is no reason for our existence on this planet Earth. And then when you are alone, you should be very careful when you are moving around in this nature, in the society. So you should be circumspective, and then you should be in position to see everything, every direction, not just moving. So it is the responsibility of the parents also to allow them to travel in that particular path in which they are traveling. So when you are moving, or when you are traveling in the road, or when you are just moving, so everyone should be very careful, not only females, but also males should be very careful. Nowadays, antisocial elements are much more because of poverty, because of unhealthy development of the individuals, and because of the drugs, because of abuse of alcohol. All these things play a role. Be careful when you are alone, or when you are traveling in a path which is not traveled by many. Always be aware of your surroundings. This applies whether you are traveling alone or in groups. Always keep one eye out of your environment, looking out for suspicious characters, possible dangers, etc. So ours is a very big campus, and then you should also be very careful, not only with the environment, but also with the reptiles, everything which is moving around. Don't move out in the dark, or so even if you are traveling in groups, you should also be cautious about antisocial and criminal type of people who may be following you. So the world is changing, and everyone are working, and everyone is moving. When you are in the midst of people, nothing much can happen. But when you are alone, the main problem comes. So one specific advice to the girl students is to travel in groups. There is safety in number. This is not just a cliche. It is true. Make it a point traveling together with other sisters, whether it is on the public transportation or on the campus or within the class or traveling through the states. Everything counts a lot. So this is a huge area, the wide area, and then a huge campus. So that says that you should be together. Don't travel alone. Don't just move without somebody with you. And there are some problems for women who are working in the work atmosphere. So there are different organizations and different things have set up gender harassment committees and other things in this work field, so as to bring safety to the women who are working. So everyone is working to make the both ends meet. They are struggling hard. People are struggling hard. So everything, the commodities have gone up. And in fact, if you just see the price index of the groceries and other things, everything has gone up by nearly 30%. And you also know about the price of petrol, which is faring up. So to make the both ends meet, both the wife and husband got to work. So they are rushing for work. At the same time, they have responsibilities at home, taking care of the kids and others. So be careful when you're traveling in the bus, be together, and then be safe and don't travel at odd times. So in spite of all the development, we are still vulnerable. So you should be very careful. The thing is, change the route. Normally you travel. You see, there are some people who may be rigging or who may be just trying to see the timing when you are getting into the bus to go to your hospital or go to your college or go to your workspace. You should be very careful. Sometimes you have to change your route. Sometimes you have to change the place. If you have taken the same bus, same train or highway to get to work or school, change the route sometimes. Even if it takes you a little longer, your safety is more important. By changing your route, you can avoid possible attacks or harassment from those who know your schedule, method, and route of travel as well. So sometimes you have to keep certain things to yourself, to not reveal all the things to all the members. Please remember that you should avoid shortcuts. That is always, this is a very important aspect. Avoid shortcuts when you are trying to reach your house or trying to reach your place of work. So that too in the evening hours or early morning hours. And when you are traveling in a train, see that, make sure that you reach in daytime, not in the odd times, because sometimes in Pune, when a software employee landed in Pune to go to her room, so she has been the victim there, and then the details of what damage has been done, nobody knows. So that should not happen. And then whenever you are traveling, you must see that you reached after the dawn, after the daylight breaks. You are capable, and then you have to exercise your energies, and then at the same time, you should be strong enough to prepare for the unnatural things. Women should be very careful against the rape, robbery, injustice, oppression, and rapes. So not merely the talking, and then we should also take absolute precautions necessary. So when you are just moving, walk with a straight, confident posture. So don't walk as if you are scared of the situation. So you should be walking with your trunk straight, and then your posture should be confident, and then your arms swinging by your sides. Avoid slouching or walking like a victim, as if you are worried about something. That should not happen. And then whenever you are walking, you should walk with utmost confidence. This makes you an easy target if you walk with a doubtful and scared walking style. Be confident when you are walking, and then be confident that you are able to tackle things. And then even when you are waiting for the bus, we should be very, we should have the circumspection of all the areas, who is near, who is farther, and then waiting for the bus. All these things you should take care. Who is climbing with you, and then who is entering into the bus, whether he is good or not. You should be very careful in choosing those aspects. When traveling in the public transportation, choose the right seat. So these are the very important thing which I just wanted to share with you. When you are riding a public transportation like bus, choose the right seat. If you are riding by the bus or the train, do not choose on the window seat, as you may be blocked in. So you should not be towards the window. You should be towards the aisle. by a potential assailant, always select the seat next to the aisle so that you can quickly leave if necessary. That is the reason why I said you should choose the aisle when you are seating not toward the window side, to be on the safer side. So because that is more vulnerable, when though it is comfortable to see the nature, but still it is a vulnerable place. If you are driving alone, so whichever car, or you have the small cars, big cars, depending upon the status which you are enjoying. So if you are driving alone, do not think that you are in the car, you are safe. Windows should be up, doors locked. Driving to avoid unwanted passengers at the intersections when you are walking to your car. So not that you are in the car. When you are going toward the car, you should be very careful. When you are walking to your car, always you have your keys ready so that you can quickly get into the car. But do not just get in right away. Always check your car before entering, especially the back seat for any intruders. So you must be seeing a lot of movies nowadays. That is, after you are entering, somebody is already there in your car. That should not happen. So, not merely entering into your car is good enough. You also have to have an inspection of your car, the front side, back side, and then windows, whether everything is open or closed. Nowadays, you have all sorts of things wherein you can open the locked car also. So you should be very careful when you are walking toward the car. Keep your keys ready. And then when you are opening the car also, you should see the back seat, whether somebody is there or not. Then you get into the car and start, and then keep moving. Be careful. Nowadays, everything can happen. So, besides that, be alert in the parking lots, especially when it is dark. Ask somebody to escort you to the car. So, let us say your class or your work time is overshooting, and then you are made to travel much later. So, if possible, try to ask somebody to escort you up to the car. So preferably those whom you are confident with. Between the cars and inside the cars, it is easy for someone to wait an unalert person comes along. So that is to say, just because you are getting into the car in the late hours, somebody can be there in between the cars and then may create some problems too. So be careful, and then if you are going towards your car parking area, you can ask some security guard or somebody to accompany you. So you have a lot of cabs, Uber cabs and other things. They are taking absolute care as far as people are concerned. And still, you should be very careful. If you are traveling by taxi, always check the identification of the driver. Say normally they will be hanging their identity card in the car. So always check the identification of the driver, usually located in the visor, and check whether it matches with the driver. once inside, you see, you will be getting, nowadays you have the development of the technology wherein they'll be sending the details to the car and then give you the OTP number, then only you will be getting into the car. So these are all the safety precautions which we have developed. And you also have the police helpline and all these things. So once the damage is done, it may not be of much use to you. Once inside, do not sit behind the driver. This is another important thing which you must remember. As it may be easy for the driver to lock the rear passenger door, always choose adjacent seat in addition. Avoid flagging taxis. Always order taxis so that driver can be traced if something happens. So just don't go to the street and then call somebody. Even the autos also, they misbehave with passengers. So it is better you call them and then better you identify them. Make sure, you see, there is no harm in making sure doubly. So make sure that you get into the car, make sure that you identify the identification hand in the car with the driver. And then by any chance, if there is any change, you insist why there is a change. And then sometimes they send one number, one vehicle number, and some other person will be coming stating that their number has not been changed. In such a situation, when you are going to places in evening hours or late evening hours, avoid. Better you, unless you are confident enough, do not travel in such cars. And this is another habit. Nowadays, everyone, almost everyone, is keeping in the ears and then listening to music. At times may not be safe. If you are used to listening to your Walkman while outside, drop this habit, especially in cities. With your Walkman on, you cannot hear the approaching of a possible attacker, approaching of a danger, which is impending danger. So better when you are traveling, you have to be very cautious in every step you are taking. So better you avoid using the earplugs and then listening to music or Walkman and all the other gadgets, electronic gadgets which you are used to. So in India, this sort of things may not happen, but in Western countries, you have the houses far apart. Note down the safe houses along your route of travel. Mentally note houses at intervals on the route so that you take that and can be used for safe housing. If attackers are there, such shops or houses that you are known to be occupied by a friend or acquaintance. So this is just to say that you get familiarized with the people of those houses when you are transiting through those areas. So you just say hello to one of the grandmothers or the grandfathers who will be staying, or the female who will be staying here, or the shopkeeper. You can just call them by good name or wish them, so that you will be familiar with such shops, such houses, so that in case of dangerous situation, they can take solace in their houses for the time. And regarding the telephone calls and telephones, while you make a call from a telephone booth nowadays, this is an outdated concept because everyone is having a cell phone. Then remember, you watch the call, always turn around so that you have to mark your phone and see who or what is coming your way. So you can hold that telephone and then you can use it as a weapon in case of necessity. If somebody is trying to cause a damage or harm, you will then be able to tell the person to whom you are speaking that you may be in trouble and may be able to use the weight of the telephone as a weapon. So that is to say, when somebody is trying to harm you, when you are speaking to the telephone, you can use that thing as a weapon, and then the door of the telephone box could be used to wedge the limbs of the attacker. That is the possibilities which you can use in case of wild necessity. And this is your apartments and do not open the door of the home without checking. You see, you may be in the house alone, and do not directly open the door without checking who is there. Do not open the door to your home without first checking from a window, peephole, or by asking and verifying who it is. Instruct the children also to do the same thing. So you have to take all the precautions that are possible and then make sure that you do this. Please check them and then only open, not directly opening the door. No loitering. You see, we should also encourage our other classmates, friends, not to loiter around and standing around, hanging around, and do not delay the leaving. For example, the class is over, you get back to the hostel rooms. The class is over, you move out from the place where you had the class. So these are all the self-imposed disciplines which count a lot. You see, whenever there is any antisocial elements or anything which is abnormally happening, report any suspicious activity around your home. If you see people loitering on the streets near your house, call the police on a non-emergency number and report it. You can just always, the police are at your help. The police are meant for helping us. So you can talk to them and then ask them to take care. And nowadays, everyone is having this mobile iPhones. iPhone that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so on. And this is the important gadget which everyone should know. Invest in a cell phone. This is an invaluable safety device. Keep it with you at all times. And if possible, try to keep it at a selected place in your bag or selected place with you. At all times, and keep emergency numbers on it. You can also note down the emergency numbers. Also, keep it next to your bed before you go to bed at night. The cell phone was the first popularized by women as security device. So it was once a popularized device for the women. Business people came later, and then subsequently everyone is using it, including a rickshaw puller and a so parking tips. Avoid parking in areas that are not well lit areas. As far as possible, do not park your vehicles in the dark areas. Park very close to a school or work entrance or parking garage that has an attendant. You see, always the girls and women should park their vehicles very close to the entrance, school entrance or garage, or where there is a watchman. If you see a suspicious person approaching or hanging around near your parked car, turn around and go back as if it is not your car to an area where there are other people. Try to get an escort to your car through the campus or job security or local police. So when you find somebody who can create damage or trouble to you, avoid such situation and then come to an area where you find some safe personnel to help you. At the same time, when you are in the college, tell about your whereabouts to your parents, spouses, and friends. So you mention the details to your close friends, where you are going and for what purpose you are going, so that they can help you in case of any necessity. Should know where you are going, when you will be back, and so that your absence will be noticed. Arrange a call in system with a friend if you live alone, whereby you can call when you arrive home. So not only this, make it a habit when you are going out from your house to tell your mother where exactly you are going, when exactly you are coming back. It's not the mere thing. It is our Hindu culture or Indian culture that says that to inform your parents about your whereabouts, where you are going, when you are going, and as if you are taking their permission to go. So that's a good cultural thing in the Indian system. So you can also do the same thing. And the details should be told to your parents. And the mode of travel also you must tell, even though you are having a vehicle of your own. Nowadays, everyone is having their own vehicles. Sometimes there is what is called sixth sense, trust your instincts. So if you are walking somewhere and you feel strange or scared, do not ignore this feeling. You see, we know things only because we have receptors to that. We are able to see only because you have the visual receptors. Probably we still have some more receptors which you haven't identified, which we are calling as instincts and sixth sense. Probably over a period of time, you will be able to know those receptors. Do not ignore this feeling. Take extra precautions by walking faster to get to the more populated or well-lit area, or change the route if you are driving in that route. So sometimes you will be having some sort of feeling. So that feeling may be based on some positive input. So you don't ignore that feeling. So this is a jungle area and then traveling. If you think that you are being followed, change your route and activity. If you think that somebody is following, you see in all movies you will be seeing somebody is following, and then the hero will be actively identifying that person and then drives accordingly. You can cross the street, change directions, or enter the populated building or store. Do whatever is necessary to avoid being alone with the person who is following you. Inform the police officer or security personnel about the follower or your own people. Attention, attract attention if you are a dangerous situation. For example, you are faced with a dangerous scenario. So how to bring about that you are in a perilous situation is get other to pay attention to. For example, if something is about to happen to you and then you are about to be attacked and then being harassed, you can alert others by honking the horn again repeatedly and or loudly describing what is happening. So this is another way, that is to catch the attention of the people around. So honking the horn repeatedly or continuously. Never admit that you are alone. Even if somebody calls, also never admit that you are alone at home. For example, you are at home, you ask as if you are home and ask if you are alone. For example, the prospective person who wanted to harm you never admitted that you are alone. Ask who the caller is. And then nowadays it is advisable not to lift the phone unless based on your caller identity. So don't lift the unknown calls. Nowadays it is safer not to open at all. Ask who the caller is if by any chance you open up. If they refuse to identify themselves, calmly hang up. Calmly don't talk to them. So I would suggest you at this point of time not to open the calls which are whose number you are not familiar with. Don't talk to them. So nowadays, a lot of spurious calls and then the ghost calls are coming. And then you don't try to hang up. Keep the radio on in the house so that the caller will get the impression that others are also in the home too. Or keep the TV on so that they talking, he thinks that all the people are there at home. Instead, children to do the same thing when they pick up the telephone. You see, don't ask the children to lift the phone and say that there is nobody at home. So it is better only the elderly people or elders who are matured enough to understand the scenario to pick up the phone and then talk. Even the cell phone also you don't give to children to answer. So this is another thing that is happening with the development in the internet technology and the technology in the telephones as a whole. Earlier you used to have just a voice call, and later you have the camera, and then now you the video calls. So all these developments are advantageous to some extent. At the same time has been disadvantageous too. So obscene phone calls, if you receive an obscene call or crank call, do not talk to the caller, hang up. The caller does not say anything as soon as he or she should obscenity, should. So hang up the call calmly and do not slam it down. You see, you should be very gentle in your body language, gentle in what you are doing. Note down the date and time of the calls. And if they are persistent, inform the local police. You see, this is what you should do. So if somebody is trying to harass you, anybody, you should be very careful in doing that. If you are a student, avoid studying in isolated places in the medical college campus and that are not regularly patrolled by the security personnel. Even in the library, you should be very careful and then do accordingly. So don't go alone to the library. So we are talking about the safety tips for women. So please follow everything which I am trying to tell you. So before that, there is a circular from university, KJR, KNR University, that they may take decision about starting the contact classes sooner. So you should be prepared for that. And the other one here is you should also take care for the possibility of third wave. You must take all the precautions necessary, and then make sure that every one of you have taken the vaccination. Make sure about that. So these are the few instructions which I want to give you. And regarding the practicals which we are planning to initiate, the practical record books will be in the printed format. So everything will be there, the procedures, everything not right. You only got to note down the values of your tests. And I suggested yesterday about the practical textbooks which you can go to in the library. And I would what is the disturbance there? What is the disturbance there? Anybody want to tell something? ఎవరమ్మా మాట్లాడేది అక్కడ? Don't interrupt here. You mute your computer. That should not be the way. And I would also recommend Hutchinson's clinical methods, and so that it will be useful in the later part of your studies. And one more thing I just want to tell you, there are some good movies in the OTT. I think it should not be the thing which I should tell you. There is a movie called Virus in Malayalam. You can just search. I think it gives you an idea about how to combat the epidemic and pandemic scenarios. So go through, you will know how life will be when there is an emergency in the hospital. It's in the Calicut Medical College. There is a Zika virus explosion, and so it depicts about the procedures of different doctors who are taking care, including the health authorities and including the health minister involved. See that if possible. So we are continuing from the safety tips. Again, there will be a mild revision of the topic. So I request all the girls to be very cautious, very careful. So this is what we discussed yesterday. I am not taking it. So you should be aware of the surrounding. This applies whether you are traveling alone or in groups. Always keep one eye out of your environment, looking for the suspicious characters who may be following you, or the dangers which are impending. So when you even when you are in groups, be careful and be vigilant. And travel in groups, as far as the traveling outside is concerned, this is not just a glitch. It is true. Make it a point traveling together with other sisters, whether it is on the public transportation or in the campus or in the cars, etc. And women, as I said, are working in every sphere. And then when traveling also, be careful. So instead of traveling the same pathway, I think we had to change the route at times, because some people may be observing, and even if it takes a little longer, your safety is more important for you and us also. By changing your route, you can avoid possible attacks or harassments from those who know your schedule, especially those unsocial and antisocial people who are following you or others. So we should know, your schedule should not be known nor revealed. Please remember that you should avoid shortcuts and take the thorough main fare where people will be moving around. So there are some minor spelling mistakes. Yesterday I made some corrections there. So you are talented, you are capable. You should realize that you have the innate talent to tackle every situation. So women are capable of achieving in every sphere. So look confident when you're walking in the streets or when you're walking from your house, purchasing groceries, etc. Walk with a straight posture and your arms swinging by your sides. Avoid slouching or walking like a victim as if you are scared of the surroundings. That should not be there. You should always present a confident look. This makes you an easy target by the attackers. So even when you are traveling in the public transport, you should be very cautious. So when riding public transportation, choose the right seat at the aisle. If you are traveling by bus or train, not to sit in the window seat because you will be blocked by the potential assailant. Always select the seat next to the aisle so that you can easily leave if there is any impending danger. So regarding the car, if you are driving your car alone, do not think that you are safe. Windows should be up and doors locked, even when driving, to avoid unwanted passengers at the intersections. You see, nowadays, in any traffic island, people just wait for the signal to come. So during that time, do not push down your window and then try to give to the beggars who are there. That is a very unsafe procedure. Because one thing is the beggar may be a potential COVID patient, and then you are exposing yourself to the potential COVID patient. Do not put your window down at the intersections and try to be too charitable to give money to such people. Be careful. Never do that. Never encourage begging. If you want, you can just feed him. When you are walking towards your car, always keep your keys, everything ready. Don't go toward the car and then search your bag for the keys. That should not be a good procedure. So make it a point to pick up your keys, keep them ready so that you can enter your vehicle without much of care. At the same time, do not directly get into the car straight. Always check the car before entering. You see, you should be careful about the surroundings. You should be careful whether somebody is there inside, especially the back seat, for any intruders. All the precautions you must take before getting into the car. Never leave your car unlocked. Let us say you go to the area where you want to drop your letter or you want to buy some small item on the road. Never do that. Never leave your car unlocked. Even if it means even for a 1 minute time, drop something off the mailbox or a few feet away. Never do that. Attackers have been known to lie in wait for such opportunity. So even people have knocked their bags from the cars uncared for. For example, if you push your window down, so the people can knock away. So it is an incident in one of our close relatives that they are traveling in the train and then the bag containing the gold ornaments and money is just near the window. And then they knocked off that bag and then the train is moving. So they could not do anything. It contained the gold ornament. Be careful when you are very close to the door and when you are going to drop your mail or purchase, making a small purchase with the door unlocked. Never do that. Be careful. These are all the minor things, but the loss is immeasurable. This is the car parking. You see, nowadays, with the advancement in the technology and advancement in the multi-storied shopping complexes, you have the cellar, and then the cellar is for the car parking. So different areas, and then in sometimes it is unmanned, sometimes with the security guards. So all these areas are there, and then you should be very careful in such situations. So be careful in the parking lots. Always be alert in the parking lots, especially when it is dark. So let us say nowadays you have the IMAX and other multiplexes coming in cities and other areas. Always be alert after seeing the movie. People come down and then getting into the car. Always be alert in the parking lots, especially when it is dark. Ask someone to help you. Suppose if you are coming with somebody, it will be fine. But if you are going alone, be careful. Between the cars, there may be space, and then there may be an intruder already present. So be careful in such a situation. So someone may be hiding behind and waiting for an opportunity to cause damage or harm. Be careful. And then another care you must be taking nowadays. Everyone is hiding cabs. They just call, and then you should be very careful. And always check the identity of the driver. And then usually you have the, as per the traffic rules, the details of the driver should be displayed. And you should check whether it matches with the driver once you are inside. Do not sit behind the driver. You see that locational situation is also very important. Do not just directly sit behind the driver. Sit just on the other side. And then the door should be very accessible to you. If need be, you can just come out of the car. Always choose the adjacent seat. In addition, avoid flagging taxis on the main road. Never do that, because you don't know whether the driver is a safe driver or not. And never use these hearing gadgets when you are in the car, as if there is no time for you to use this. Never do that when you are traveling in unknown passenger vehicle. Do not use the Walkman or the music systems or the earphones. If you are listening to your Walkman music system outside, you will not be alert. Drop this habit for sure, especially in isolated areas with your Walkman on. You cannot hear the approaching of the possible attacker. As a matter of fact, in Germany, it is an offense to use the Walkman or the music system even while you are walking on the road. So that is punishable, just like using the mobile phone when you are driving. So never do this thing even while walking also, because you will not be alert, and then you are being a possible victim or subjected to any road accidents when you are crossing the road. So never use this when you are at home. You can do that. So always drop this habit when you are in the vehicle, moving vehicle, or when you are even walking on the road. So do this for good. So when you are walking, make sure that you are familiarized with the area, familiarized with the inmates of the houses, shops through which you will be traveling or walking to get the groceries or purchase something or give the clothes for the ironing, etc. for the day-to-day course. So make sure that you get familiarized so that in case of any impending danger, you can just always seek their help, go to them because you are familiar with such situation. Then note the safe houses along your route. Mentally note the house numbers at intervals in each route, and then you take, and then just a small wish, a small smile will be enough that you can get used to that, so that you remember him and he or she will remember you. You take that, can be used as a safe house if you are attacked. Such shops or houses may be of immense help to you. And this is the public booth or public thing. Now it is becoming outdated nowadays. Everyone is having a cell phone. So even then, if you are in a telephone booth in a different place or different country or different city, just remember these two few points. When you make a call from a telephone booth after dialing the number you wish to call, always turn around so that you have to, so that you are back to the phone, so that you are facing the entry, and then you see the people who are coming in. So that is another important aspect you must remember. You should face back and hold the telephone in your hand. You will then be able to tell the person whom you are speaking that you may be in trouble, and you may be able to use the weight of the phone and then use it as a weapon to hit the individual who may be harming you. The door of the telephone box should also be used as a wedge to close so that the limbs of the attacker is crushed in between. And then in the house, in the apartment, when your parents go out or when you are alone, go for a function, you are alone reading at home, be careful and then follow all these steps. Do not open the door of your home without knowing the details of the person who is coming and knocking the door. Do not open the door of your house without first checking from the peephole who the person is. Only after verifying it, you had to open up. There is a different type of chain which partially open the door, but in the closed state, that is also another thing which you can see the person directly. And if it is a courier also, you should make sure that what the item is. So just do not open without verifying the antecedents when you are alone at home. Instruct the children or young people at home also to follow the same instructions. So nowadays, all the people are not properly educated and then taken care of by their parents. There may be orphans, there may be vagabonds, which you'll be seeing on the streets. And then the casual labor, all these people do not have the basic knowledge to behave properly in the outside world. So such loitering people who are just standing around, hanging around, and then be careful, and then you should be very careful with such people who will be around the streets. Report any suspicious activity around your home. By any chance you find somebody visiting often, you can just, if you see people loitering around the streets near your house, call the police and then on an emergency number. So you can just always seek the help of police people. All the police, you not be careless in not responding to your request. They will definitely come and then you can report what is happening, so that they will take care and then they will keep visiting the area often and then help us. So this is the cell phone. This is the latest version of the iPhone 10 or 11. And then depending upon your capabilities, you can just procure them. So always everyone should have a cell phone. That is, do not use the cell phone in the class or do not use the cell phone in the examinations. But you should use as a definite advantageous way. This is an invaluable safety device. Actually, the cell phones are mainly devised to help for security purpose. Keep it with you at all times and keep emergency numbers on it. You can just note down the emergency numbers. You share the number with your parents, share the number with your well-wishers, and that's all. Do not give your numbers to all the people. Also keep it next to your bed when you are sleeping or when you are in a new place. You go in the night. Cell phones were first popularized by women as security device But later it has become a business entity, and then it will be a very useful tool as far as the medical doctors are concerned, because the patients can get in touch with the doctor at any time. Nowadays, doctors are also not giving their cell numbers because the patients are continuously disturbing them. And this is the car parking area. Regarding the car parking tips, avoid parking in areas that are not well lit. You see, do not just, it is a vacant area, don't park in a distant area that is dark. Park close to the school. Always some of the precautions you must take is park very close to the school or work entrance where there will be people commuting. Work entrance or parking garage, so that somebody will be visiting and they may be of some help. That has an attendant when if there is any watchman, I can just park in that area and just tell him that you will be parking, and then inform him in advance. If you see any suspicious person approaching or hanging around near your parked car, this is a very important thing which you should be in position to understand. Turn around and go back to an area. If you are very suspicious and then there is nobody there to help you, go back to your area, and then only later you can come when there is nobody else is there. Turn around and go back to an area where there is another person waiting. Try to get an escort to your car. For example, if it is still risky and then suspicious, you can ask somebody to come up to the car, and then you get into the car and then go. So all these security measures you must take, and then you can they'll be in the campus, and security personnel will be there also in the campus. Still, you should be very careful. Suppose you are going out from your house, and then let us say, even if it is for purchase of groceries, inform your mother, inform your father, or inform your brother who is at home. Tell others that where exactly you are going, about your parents or spouses or friends should know where exactly you are going. If it is a short distance, it's okay. The people at home can be informed. And if it is for a longer place, you can inform the others also. So when you are back, you can inform them back, so that they will be known that you are back at safe. So that your absence will be noticed. Arrange a call in system with your friend, so that if you live alone, the details can be known to her, and then if your parents from a distant place can call her to know about your welfare. When you arrive at home, inform them again. Trust your instincts, as I said yesterday. Trust your instincts. This is sometimes we call it a sixth sense. Sometimes you have a feeling, a subconscious feeling. If you are walking somewhere and then you feel uncomfortable, strange, and peculiar, do not ignore this gut feeling. Take extra precautions, or if necessary, you just leave that area. Take extra precautions in walking faster, and then avoiding that area, and then get out of that area. And that feeling sometimes may be there. As I said yesterday, that is, we have sensations for which we have the receptors. Probably we do have the sensations for these extrasensory feelings, or the sixth sense, for which the receptors may be there, but we are not able to identify those receptors. Probably time will tell you. And this is the uncharted areas where only few people will be commuting. So such areas you should be very careful. So if you think that you are being followed, change your route and activity, and then you can cross the street, change directions, or enter a populated building or store. So you have to confuse others at times if such antisocial or unsocial people are trying to follow you. Do whatever is necessary to avoid being alone with the person who is following you. Inform the police officer or security. Now everyone will be having a mobile phone with you, and then always note down the important numbers of the security people. So you are, in spite of all the precautions you are taking, you are still in a dangerous scenario. Try to get attention to the people by honking your car horn number of times or continuously, so that the intruder will run away, and then at the same time it attracts people towards you, so that they will be coming and then asking what exactly happened, so that you can describe what is happening and then seek their help and guidance. At home or at your place where you are staying, never admit that you are alone. You can always say that you are staying with friends or relatives. If someone calls you at home, ask as if, and then they will try to, because nowadays it is easy to get the mobile numbers to somebody and then try to attack you at home either. Never give your number, never share your numbers. It is now becoming a social problem. Never share with the people whom you are not familiar with and whom you suspect. Never admit it that you are alone in staying. Ask who the caller is sometimes if you get a phone call. So as I said yesterday, never open up the call if the number is new to you. No harm, there is nothing we are going to lose. If they refuse to identify themselves, that caller, calmly hang up, calmly disconnect the telephone. Keep the radio in the house on when such suspicious caller will be calling, so that he will think that people are at home, and give the impression that people are at home. You can also switch on the television, so that the sound only will give an idea that somebody is still at home. Instead, the children also to follow the same procedures and then not to pick up the telephone when a number which is not familiar with is calling you. And then, in spite of all that, as I said, never give your cell number or your local telephone number to anyone unless you are thoroughly convinced that he is safe. In spite of that, you will be committing mistakes also. Even those whom you think that safe may not be safe. So it is better not to give, better to avoid all these things. So sometimes obscene phone calls you'll be getting it. If you receive an obscene call or the crank call or the ghost call, do not talk to such people or such callers. Hang up the phone call, and then if possible, note down the number. And then you can inform the police people that somebody is giving a ghost call and then trying to harass you. Or as soon as he or she should face such obscenities, you have to hang up the phone call calmly. And then don't talk to such people with any harsh words. Silence is better than talking to such people. Note on the date and time of the call. That is very important. When such obscene people or obscene calls are coming to you, note down in a diary, and then note on the date, note on the time, and note on the cell number if possible. If it is persistent, you can always give a written complaint to the local police. They will take care. The police people nowadays are very alert with the information technology going up, and then they can easily identify the call and then punish such people. If you are a student, avoid studying in isolated places in this medical college campus, and that are not regularly patrolled by the security personnel. So I want to stress this point. So even if it is library, even if it is a reading room, avoid studying in such places. It's better to take all the precautions. You see, just like you are taking the vaccination against COVID, this is also the precautions which you must take. You see, better avoid rather than going to such places with security and all that. So after some time, after dusk, I wish all the girls get back to your rooms and then study. Don't loiter here and there. So not only that, this is a very wild area, and then you find the reptiles and other poisonous things which may be moving around in the night. And then always you carry a torchlight with you when you are going to the library or when you are going back to your room. So in large buildings, this is our building, college building. In the large buildings, avoid taking the elevator. Fortunately, we don't have any elevators in our college campus or the hospital. Hospital, you have only one elevator. But in this college building, there is no elevator and the problem doesn't arise. So, because I'm sorry, you have to take the elevator in some situations. So it is better to avoid even the stairs also, because sometimes it is not, we don't know who will be nearer to that. So unless you are familiar with, do not travel go to the top floors, and then always restrict yourself to the areas where it is in the ground floor or the first floor. And regarding the Facebook, I just want to tell you, nowadays with the technology, everyone is having a Facebook account, and then you are sharing your photographs and then trying to make friends with these newer people. Do not accept all the friends requests of all the people, because most of them may be fake Facebook accounts also. The friends, because it is getting corrupted, and do not accept anything. At the same time, I would also advise all the students not to share any of your photographs in the Facebook. So though it is the order of the day to share everything that is happening in your life into the Facebook, better you avoid giving your photographs. So you can just share some unrelated things in the Facebook, but do not share the photographs of yourself or your parents or your family members unless you feel it is very important. So because people are misusing these things, and then they are corrupting their things. Better don't accept any newer people into your Facebook unless he is a relative. Even then, I would suggest not to accept too many people into your Facebook, because most of the offenses are happening in these areas. And then you have different types of cell phones and mobiles nowadays. Everyone is having a mobile phone, and then you have the higher version of iPhones and Samsung and other phones. Do not share or do not give your numbers to all the people. They may be calling you at odd times, and or who in turn may be giving your mobile number to somebody else. So that is not a healthy practice to do that. Nowadays, you should be extra cautious in this angle. Do not share your cell number unless otherwise warranted. And then your parents should know. You should also be careful that you don't take other numbers also in this. And another thing is when you are outside and then somebody asks your mobile to give a call outside, that also you should avoid, because he may be a criminal, we don't know. If he calls from this number, and then if that criminal has a criminal antecedents, the police will trace your mobile number, and then you will be subjected to unwanted harassment or inquiries. So when you are outside, even when you are traveling the train or traveling the bus, if some neighboring passengers ask you to give your mobile number for a call, you just ignore and then deny giving the number. Because if such criminal calls from your mobile number to somebody else, it may be dangerous. Nowadays, with this terrorism and terrorist activities, we don't know who the terrorist is, who the anti-social element is. So, hence, you should be very careful not to share your mobile for any call to help them. You just ask him to go to the public telephone number and then call. And then, in spite of all the advancements, so women are still subjected to harassment. Not the harassment, but this is mainly because the youngsters, unspoiled youngsters who are not properly trained by the parents, and then who are not educated, not going to school dropouts. All these people are now resorting to unhealthy practices like taking drugs and then taking alcohol. And the culmination is resulting in these unsocial activities. So a lot can be said about these issues, but it is not the present context. So as far as the world in India is concerned, 4 rape cases are reported every hour in India. So this is the state. Because not because of anything, we have to protect ourselves first. Nobody else can take care of us except ourselves. We have to take all the precautions that is possible. And then don't venture and then don't take any risk. This at our level, in spite of that, things do happen. So this is the scenario, that is 4 rape cases which are occurring. You must be seeing a lot of things in the movies too. And then we have to stop this shame of victimizing and insulting our sisters and mothers. So always respect our people and then protect them and then reject unwanted people. So the best protection any woman can have is courage. You should be courageous. You should be strong enough, and then you should be in position to defend yourself. There are a lot of techniques which a female is capable of defending herself. So this is not the purview of this topic. And so I'm telling you. So the best protection is you yourself. You can protect yourself, and then you should have a courage, and then you should have a confident confident walk in the streets, and then face the situation. So Margaret Thatcher, she was the Prime Minister of UK. In politics, if you want anything said, ask a man. In politics, if you want anything said, ask a man. If you want anything to be done, ask a woman. Women are really a nice part of the society where they will help. So our former President of the United States, women are not an interest group. So nowadays, these politicians will think that women are a section. They divide women and then take out from the population and then use as the vote bank. Women are not an interest group. They are mothers and daughters and sisters and wives. They are half of this country, and then they are perfectly capable of making their own choices about their health and their own security and other things. So we should not see as a vote bank or other political groups, but they are our sisters and mothers. They are part and parcel of our family. What makes a strong woman? What makes a strong woman? So you can do it. Be strong and then be bold enough to tackle every situation. And then you should create a world that do not enter, and then it is only your field. Argue for your limitations and secure enough that they are yours. Argue for your limitations. You should know what are your limits and then secure enough that they are yours. It is all destiny in the end, whether we land up The only person who can believe in life is yourself. You have to believe that you can do that and then capable of doing it. Nowadays, women are in every sphere of life. Be safe, take care of yourself, and then you should be absolutely safe. So you deserve all the safety measures, and then women's safety in this world is very important. So we take care, and then we'll protect in every sphere, and then the government is there, and then government is giving numbers, government is taking all the measures also. Please take care. And then these are the few things which were in my mind. I wanted to convey to you, and then at the same time take all the precautions necessary. With this, I will stop the lecture, and then I will continue again in the next class. So you have the diabetes. I just do not want to initiate. Just I want to show you one more slide before I conclude today. So this is the way in which I want my institute or any institute to be like that for the students. So there should be a laptop given to every student, and there should be a beautiful ambience, a beautiful atmosphere, and then there should be a notebook. This is what I am suggesting you to have a desktop or the laptop on your table. On one side, you have your textbook. On the other side, you have your notebook. And then you can scribble important points in the notebook. And I do not know whether I'll be able to see this sort of day in our institute sooner. And I wish, if God permits, this should be the way in which a classroom or the lecture hall should be for every student in the country, in the world. God bless you. We'll stop at this.
Thank you, sir.
Sleepy.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone is feeling sleepy. Is it?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Are you alert?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take care. Read well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
ఇంకా చెప్పి మళ్ళీ ఇంకోటి చెప్పామంటే వాళ్ళు తట్టుకోలేదు.